Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Death Talk Unscripted. My name's Paula, and I'm your host tonight. I'm a death walker, and I'm sure a lot of you are going, woohoo, she dropped another podcast. Or some of you are going, man, what took you so long? Well, I don't have any excuses. Life has been popping up all kinds of serendipity and synchronicities that are just all over the place for me. I have my hand in about 4 different projects that are all coming together, and I will probably talk about a couple of those later. But more importantly tonight, I just kind of wanted to talk about MAID, Medical Aid in Dying. And this is probably my most significant passion, and this is what I advocate for. Let me say this first. I have no dog in anyone's race how they want to die. If they want to go hospice, I'll walk them through hospice. I will ceremonial and very, very kindly give ritual for them to leave, to take their very last breath, walk them home. I will do that. If they want to voluntarily stop eating and drinking and do the 500 hours on that, I will be there. I will be right behind them, and I will make sure that they die with every bit of respect, dignity, and honor. But more importantly, they tell me how they want it to go. I'll make it that way. So, and then for MAID, I tend to be drawn to MAID a little bit more because MAID is kind of how I was raised as a child. That MAID is how I saw death. It wasn't Medical Aid in Dying, but being on the reservation and having elders and shaman and medicine woman, there was a lot of tinctures made. There was a lot of medicine made, and a lot of the medicine was for when people died. And it was, and I'll tell you how it fits in as I go through the story. So this is what I'm going to kind of do. I want you to think of Medical Aid in Dying, or MAID, as an energy portal, a holistic passage beyond the body. We get wrapped up in the body so much. I don't know how. I don't know how the body plays such an important part in our human dying process. It's not the most important part at all. The spirit, the essence, the cosmic dust, whatever you want to call it, that's the most important part. That is what houses in the body. And it's not, the body's not the part, the body is the bodyguard. The body is the bodyguard to the spirit, to the cosmic energy. So they call it Medical Aid in Dying, a legal term, a medicalized phrase. And that's the best way right now that as a collective, as human beings, though that right there is the best way that we can get our simple little minds to understand this. And it shouldn't be a legal thing. It shouldn't be a political thing. And a damn skippy should not be a medicalized phrase. It just shouldn't. But for some of us, for those attuned to the liminal spaces where body meets soul, it's far more than a legal right. It's a threshold, a cosmic hinge. Think about that. A threshold, a liminal space where the body meets the soul. Can you imagine that being on stage? That's your last show before you exit left. And literally on stage, the body meets the soul. In a threshold, a cosmic hinge envelops all of that. Whoa, baby! Oof! A deeply personal act of returning to source. Wow, I gotta say that again. I don't know where it came from. It just kind of fell out of my mouth, but a deeply personal act of returning to source. I love returning to source. It fits so well with the energy, portals, alignment, transitions. It is the incumbent of all those things. I'm sorry. Returning to source with intention, sovereignty, and sacred clarity. Man, I like those three words. Intention, sovereignty, and sacred clarity. Sacred clarity. That's awesome. To have that absolute sacred clarity already in you. You've been preparing this. You have worked your whole life, and you are now at your death, and you don't have any unfinished business, and you don't need to get right with your God or the goddess, or you have finished all your business like a grown-up should. You have worked all your life to be able to communicate, to be able to embrace death, to be able to talk about death, to be able to talk to your families about how you want to die. There is nothing to save till the end. Nothing. Get it all out beforehand. Because if I can give you any advice, the sooner you get it out there, the easier it is going to be for people to digest it. And some people in your circle, I guarantee you, they're going to need 20 years to adjust to it. So, my advice, my pretty little people out there, is get comfortable with it. What if we stopped thinking of MAID as a sterile prescription and started seeing it as a soul-activated transitional portal? Imagine having your MAID drink and you whipping off that, you're ripping off the package, and you've already had the agave or the bitter, the sweetness in your mouth. Because MAID is bitter. It really is. And so there are certain things that people do. Some do honey. Some do molasses. I mean, there's several things. But remember this. If we can think of it, stop thinking it as a sterile prescription. Think of it as the beautiful sweetness of life that's coating your mouth. And when you take the drink and you drink it, if it's sour or if it's earthy, this is your last moment to be grounded, to set your bioorganic machine into its place of being sour, earthy. Maybe it tastes a little metallic-y. This is the final part of not only the bioorganic machine, because what you just what you just swallowed is going to finish off this beautiful body. So, like I said, what if we just thought of it as a transition portal, a conscious, an attuned way of dissolving the earthly form, your bioorganic machine, releasing energy with grace. Releasing energy with grace. Wow, that's pretty powerful there. And stepping into what comes next on your own frequency. I'm going to take a minute and breathe and say that again. Stepping into what comes next on our own frequency. Imagine your very own frequency, your very own freedom, your very own autonomy. Wow. I couldn't imagine anyone's soul not being so filled with joy and filled with passion and energy that it would just zip. Be so happy to just zip up. The bioorganic machine. I say that a lot because I do believe that's what it is. And I think it's a remarkable piece of machinery. I am 62 years old. I am sitting here at, I don't know, what time is it? 12:37 a.m. And I can move my arms. I can lift weight. I am talking. It is just phenomenal. So I'm going to go into the bioorganic machine. The bioorganic machine that I carry, I revere it. I revere it so much because it has given me so much. It has allowed me to experience death walking. It has allowed me to experience all the things that I like to want to be experienced. The second thing I'd like to go with, and I'm going to switch it up. Instead of bioorganic machine, I'm going to say our bodies are freaking brilliant. They're brilliant. Nature does brilliant things. I don't know how it does it, but I got to tell you, it's a power greater than me. So our bodies are brilliant. They carry us through grief and joy, labor, movement, lineage. They pulse with memory and tension and pleasure and resilience. But when the body begins to falter, and it will falter. As a matter of fact, it falters a little bit during each particular age group. It falters a little bit by the time you're done. From 0 to 18, it will falter at 18 a little bit. From 18 to 25, again, the body will falter a bit. And just go all the way up until 100. It's the natural order. It really is. But when the body begins to falter, and it will, when pain outweighs purpose, let me say that again. When pain outweighs purpose, when chronic illness has taken your entire life away, you have no quality of life. When you have for your entire life sustained what I call a severely defective bioorganic machine that did not allow your spirit, your cosmic essence, your energy to experience everything that it was supposed to experience because the tool itself did not work. MAID in this frame becomes the final sacred consent. Many of us begin, when we reach that point where pain outweighs purpose, where MAID is now that frame, many of us begin to hear ourselves. We hear the whisper within ourselves, and it's time. It's really, really my time. I'm done here. I'm tired. My body has long begun to falter. I have experienced grief and joy and labor and grandkids and friends. I have experienced bitter food, sweet food, and it's my time. It's my time. And it's not in despair, but in readiness. There are many of us, we're ready. We've done the work. We've done the soul work. We've done the energy work. We've done the human work. We've been graced with a lifelong life, and we understood how we want our death to be. And so we took all that. We don't need extra quantity of time laying in a bed being drugged up and people trying to get us to finish our unfinished business or somehow make right with Jesus or God upstairs or whatever that is. Some of us have already done that. We did it way before death was even near. We figured we'd get a handle on it. So by the time that terminal diagnosis came in, we were ready. We were ready. MAID in this frame becomes a final sacred consent. That is a beautiful sentence. It is the final sacred consent. I love saying sacred, sacred, sacred. A blessing offered not in defeat, but in alignment. Wow. Man, dig that. Oh, this is a way of saying, gosh, this just pops into my head and it just like, boom, comes out. This vessel has served me well. I now release it with reverence. This vessel has served me well. I now release it with reverence. Man, I could just feel my body peeling away, you know. I felt when I said that, my body was like, yes, 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 let's do it that way. Yes, that's what I want. We are not discarding the body. The body is not the most important thing. It's not. The body is a tool. It's a brilliant tool. But it simply houses the best part. And that's the soul, the energy, the cosmic dust, the spirit. The body is the house. And we outgrow houses. We are liberating the energy that animated it. We are letting go of the body through MAID. And at the same time, we are releasing and liberating the energy that animated it. Listen to that sentence, the liberating the energy that animated it. All I can think of is billions of monarchs soaring freely, once we discarded that body. And liberating those beautiful monarch butterflies that animated that energy. Man, that is some kind of plan, isn't it? That's a good death right there. Autonomy. Autonomy is something that I throw here and there, but it is one of the most important things. And make no mistake, when I talk to people about medical aid in dying, when I talk to people about voluntary stoppage of eating and drinking, when I talk to them about self-delivery, when I talk to them about getting up to medical aid and dying, I always make sure they are absolutely clear on what freedom and autonomy is. Autonomy is just not legal. It goes, again, we have this thing with dying, and especially now with MAID, that we can fit it into 3 little boxes. We can fit it into a legal box, we can fit it into a medical box, and we can fit it into a religious box. And all 3 of those boxes are against everything that I'm speaking about right now. The medical community wants to own my body. The legal community wants to own my stuff and my body. The religious part, they want my body to suffer and stay here for as long as possible, so somehow they're going to get my soul. Make me right. Make me go up to the pearly gates, or whatever it is that religion does. I do not adhere to religion. I don't. And I'll get into that later. Between being ushered out and walking through the door of your own choosing, that's pretty spiritual. You know, between being ushered out, and when I say ushered out, it's on a gurney and you're bloated and your body has just decayed and is decrepit. But walking through the door of your own choosing, and you can hold my hand and you can feel my breath, and we're walking, and I tell the story, and I tell you, and you're alive, and you're still fairly coherent. You see, that's where it is. Autonomy here isn't about control, it's about alignment. A soul in tune with its cycle. A final breath that echoes yes, yes, hell, yes. This is it. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to die. And if I get to do this, my bucket list is complete. Can you imagine saying that? And being able to say it, whether you're standing up or snapping your fingers or whatever. You're not drugged out. You're not zombieized. You're not isolated. You're not stuck somewhere between here and there. The natural order, folks, that's what it all boils down to. Death is a natural order. We were always meant to return. Always. Everything that lives returns. The stars that birthed us, they will reclaim our carbon. The breath we exhale, it will be woven into the lungs of the trees. The energy we are, call it soul, essence, spirit, cosmic dust, it does not vanish. It transmutes. It transmutes. It does not vanish. What if MAID is one of the most direct ways of honoring this natural order? Not a rupture of nature, not a rupture of nature, but a recalibration, a homecoming, one that releases us not in agony, but in intentional expansion. Listen to that again. One that releases us not in agony, but in intentional expansion. Imagine once you leave your bioorganic machine and you know you're ready to go. Imagine using MAID and feeling that and leaving with that intentional expansion. That soul energy, that cosmic vibration, man, it must expand and expand and expand to the entire universe. That entire, I just get all giddy when I think about it. I'm going to throw in something a little silly here. What if MAID, let's think of MAID as a rocket. The full body liftoff. For those of you who, let's say, see the body as a chrysalis, MAID becomes the ignition. It becomes a rum, rum, rum. It is not sedation. It's a launch. Whoosh, whoosh. Let me say that again. For those who see the body as a chrysalis, MAID becomes the ignition. Vroom, vroom. At no time can a rocket take off if it's sedated. If a rocket is sedated, I guarantee there will be no full body liftoff. It's just gonna, okay? Ignition and launch. Think about that. Think about if MAID started the ignition, gave you the launch, and from there, an hour later, you're released. You're out there, your energy is transmuted over into a brand new galaxy. You're over there in a nebula, and your whole energy is to create freaking massive stars. And you over here, yours is released and free. The ancestors that you have summoned, they're over there. What wonders will you go back in time so that you can meet with them and live and energize the way that they did? And what about me? Well, I'd like to be in Andromeda Galaxy, I think. I think I would like that galaxy quite much. I'd like to find a planet where it has 2 suns, like Tatooine. But more importantly, I'd like there to be a massive amount of planets with rings around them. And I could see the water on them. I could see the peaks on them. I could see the volcanoes on them from my planet. Yeah, that's kind of what I'd want to do. So we've launched. I just launched 3 or 4 people and me into whatever the realm is. There's a beauty in imagining the soul, freed from suffering, traveling outward like light across the cosmos. That's beautiful. I've actually seen a couple instances of something like that. We were in a cabin with a lovely couple, and we had done the drumming rituals. We had the medicine women dance and perform the rituals and, gather all the stuff that needed to be done. And it was so funny because we could see the body starting to do its thing and break down and slow down. We noticed the breathing rapidly dropping off. And all of us, for what we are, when we put our heads down, it is to honor earth, and then we look up to honor the heavens, and then we pull around to the waters and, all that stuff. And when we went to the water side, all of us were we just took a big, there was literally a light that shot out, not from her feet or her head. It literally was like from the side, like it was just going right down the side, and it just lifted up, and it was just this most magnificent light. It couldn't have been there for more than, I don't know, 2 seconds. So it was beautiful. Let there be no more tethering. Why must our souls, our essence, our spirits, why must they be tethered to the bioorganic machine until the bioorganic machine stops? Why would anyone want their soul tethered to that? I believe there should be no more of that. I also believe there should be no more containment. Just unspooled starlight, returning to itself. That's a beautiful, beautiful concept. Whether you believe in past lives or spirit realms or ancestor reunions, or my favorite, simply the poetic science of energy that never dies, then MAID offers the conditions for this clarity in release. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that awesome? Doesn't that just blow your mind? Doesn't it just open up your mind and go, oh my God, why are we still using hospice? Oh my God, why are we putting so many people into hospice when they don't want to be in hospice? When that would be cruel and unusual punishment? When we have this MAID, Destiny's Door, my death retreat, my underground railroad to get all the people in all the states who want to come and have MAID as a energetic portal, end of life choice. I mean, a lot of people ask me what a holistic MAID ritual can look like. Most of the time it's a quiet place. At my retreat, it would be in the bungalow beds, pods that we have. It would be a quiet space, depending on where they chose it. Some people may have chosen the eastern part for a sunrise. Someone else may have chose the west pod for a sunrise. Perhaps their last request before they die is to be laid out so that when they look up in the darkest of night, all they see is stars. And so it would be a quiet space. It would be their own space. Their family would be there. There's an altar lit of some sort. I usually run with the Native American or some sort of, every now and then I'll do a Norse or a Celtic or a Wiccan. The music is chosen. Most of the time when I choose music, it is either a flute or a drumming or something along those lines. The body needs to be honored and touched and thanked. Words spoken, not just to the family, but you speak to the ancestors, you speak to the elements, you speak to the directions, you speak to the cosmos. A sip of water, a final scent. I usually use ash, blue sage, and every now and then I'll use chamomile. A grounding object in my hand, I usually have a onyx arrowhead, and then I have a wolf bone in my other hand. MAID isn't just a tool, guys. It can be a rite, a passage, a portal aligned with agency, soul, sovereignty, and universal rhythm. It isn't a crime to die well. It's an ancient art, rising again in modern form. And some of us death walkers and doulas, kin of transition, are here to hold that doorway open with reverence, ritual, and reminder that death is not the end. Your bioorganic machine is the end. And even it's not the end. It will be repurposed because it's bioorganic. It's an opening. Death is not the end. It's just another opening. So, anyways, I'm going to close on that one. That's kind of sort of what I was feeling tonight. That's how I was moving and grooving. So let me know, let me know if you want to hear a follow-up article, if you want some ancient cultural parallels, or maybe you would like me to actually do a guided MAID ritual format. Remember, you're helping people. People remember what's possible. Thank you for that. And I'm going to put my hands together and I'm going to say so much love. Namaste. And please talk about death. It really is the way to be.